Hey guys, this is Ian Harris, the editor for Survivor Michigan Seasons 2 through 5, and the host of all of these reunion podcasts. Before we get to our regularly scheduled reunion podcast, Season 3, Maized Confused, is going to be a great one. We have actually a special surprise. Way back when Season 3 was filmed, we actually did a jury roundtable before Final Tribal Council. So the same day as Final Tribal, everybody in the jury got together about a half an hour before Final Tribal and discussed the game, the season, and who they wanted to win, and kind of advocated for two sides. This was hosted by Akshay and Lavana from Season 1. Unfortunately, most of the footage from this was lost. So when Season 3 was coming out, we only had one angle of this jury roundtable, and it was just of a few of the contestants. And so it was deemed pretty much unusable. You couldn't really tell what was going on. It was very difficult to make sense of it. But a few weeks back, when I was scrounging around looking through other footage for All-Stars related reasons, I stumbled across the angle on Akshay and Lavana. So now we have 2 out of the 3 angles of this jury roundtable. And even though you still can't see one of the angles, which has Cassie, Will, Aaron, and Brady in it, so you can't see them in this roundtable, but you can hear them, I deemed it that now it was a suitable place to release this roundtable as a fun little piece of bonus content. It's fun for the Season 1 fans. You get some Akshay and Lavana. It's fun for the Season 3 fans. You get some nice Season 3 banter. It's a pretty entertaining 20 minutes, and I actually think that it will give some new context to the Final Tribal Council of Season 3. So hope you enjoy. It's the Season 3 Jury Roundtable, followed by your regularly scheduled Season 3 reunion programming.
Probably introduce y'all selves first.
Yeah, I think I'll do that. I love it. Action?
Yes, action.
Let me go. Hi, I'm Lavana Wang, and I'm from Season 1 of Survivor. You might know me as the girl who never watched Survivor, but still made it pretty far, so I think I deserve a round of applause for that. Thank you. All right.
And I'm Akshay, and I'm the guy that never shut up in Survivor. Alright, so this is the jury roundtable. We're here to just help you guys kind of air your grievances and help maybe clear your mind before we get to Final Tribal.
Feel free to fight with one another and let out your emotions. We have this center for you guys to just brawl it out. I know it can be tough, and I know if I was in your position, I would just really go for it. So I'm telling y'all, really go for it. And I will tell you when you can go for it even more.
Okay, and we're going to start with Aaron. Because we're
Aaron.
going to start with the final immunity challenge. So why don't you just tell everyone, because out of the people here, you were the only one that was there the whole time.
Yeah.
So why don't you just let everyone know kind of what happened, what went down.
So it was more of an endurance than a willpower challenge. More of a slippery shoes than a willpower challenge. It was we blocked off the whole day for it. I think people expected it to last around 8. I expected it to go all night, but lasted only 32 minutes. Because we started on the base of the light posts. My feet slipped off right away, about 10 minutes in, because my shoes sucked and had no traction. Then about 20 minutes later, Dylan slipped off. No deals were made, but
Who's Dylan?
Dylan's one of the finalists.
We didn't do a lot of prep
Actually, you
with
weren't
this,
responsible for prepping her.
No one
but
told me this.
Devin and Dylan are the 2 in the finals.
Because it wasn't done anyone else before.
Those are guys.
Both guys, Devin and Dylan, both
They're
male.
not on the jury, so they're not here.
I don't understand that. Okay.
Okay, so on to the rest of the jury. So just really quickly, not who you guys want to see in the winner, but what is a quality you guys want to see in each winner. So we'll start from Ben and just go down in order.
Oh,
Ben.
I'm struggling really hard to figure out what I want to see in a winner because I would like to see someone who really cares about the game. I think somebody who really is passionate about being the winner of Survivor Michigan.
Do you think that's you?
I'm not on
Not
the
anymore.
final 2. I got 11
Emily,
place.
you go next.
I don't even know. I have certain grievances that may affect my vote or may not. I'm trying to look out.
Y'all do not
We'll
need
be trying to be
I
specific,
don't know,
guys.
let's get
This
there
is
now.
not where we go passive aggressive. This is where you just go.
This is where you just.
Yeah, this is not one of your
That was
fake
one of the
ass
first things
beat
I
ups
said.
in the dining
Yeah,
hall.
this
This
is
is real.
I guess like for me, like I haven't seen either of them really play, and I've been sitting on the jury during the time everyone says, "Oh, they started playing now," and I'm like, "But have they?" Because at tribal they've both been like, just like dumb. So I want to see someone who's outwitted, outplayed, and outlasted, and neither one of them have fit those three criteria. So I'm like open-minded, but also like very opinionated.
Okay.
For me, like, I like to also to sort of like outwit, outplay, outlast, and in my opinion, neither of them have outplayed. So like, let's get rid of that. And then yeah. So then if we go to outwit and outlast, they both clearly outlasted. And then outwitting, I think there can be many definitions of outwit, and I don't think it has to be like the obvious, oh, you made a huge, like, obvious, visible move, or you, like, flipped on somebody or alliance or something. Like, also, like, a viable strategy that I think is respectable is to sort of, like, consciously fly under the radar. And
Are you talking about someone specifically?
like, honestly, neither of them made, like, huge visible moves, in my opinion, but, like, more about Devin, I think. I think that it, like, that's also, like, outwitting because he's in the final two, and he's outwitted everyone by getting there, and we're all losers
So
here.
you think he like flew under the radar, and that's why he's in the final two?
I think that's a significant part of it, and I think it was a very conscious decision on his part to fly under the
So
radar.
do you think that's like a respectable strategy? You can vote for someone who went in, I'm gonna go fly under the radar, and did it, and got
I think not if they, like, only flew under the radar and they, like, didn't put in time, they didn't care about it, they didn't strategize, but I think Devin did all those things because I worked with him the whole game, so I saw that in him.
Is there anyone else that agrees with her that flying under the radar is a good strategy?
No, I just have a comment real
Sure.
quick. I think it's interesting, the roles, in my opinion, based on everything I saw, me and Aaron were like the last two in the game. The week that Will was voted out, Will played Devin's entire game. Devin did not reach out to any of us. And so I think that the rules completely flipped from the beginning of the season to the end. And I think it's viable to fly under the radar until you really need to play to have a resume. And I think that's what Dylan did, and Devin didn't do shit in the end.
Are you
So,
mad?
that's my
that,
opinion.
Are you mad that they like flipped the rules? Or you Are you mad?
Are you mad that they used that strategy and got where they are?
I'm not mad. I like as it sits right now, I can't vote for Devin because I respect playing in the end game and flying under the radar at the beginning. I can't say I respect doing nothing at the end of the game when it's important.
Okay,
Period.
you.
I would just say that like each person who's like joined the jury has said like Devin didn't talk to me the week that I was voted out, like all this stuff, and it's like yeah, but he voted you out, so like why would he have talked to you?
I wasn't talking about the week I was voted out.
But like maybe you guys
No.
weren't allies. Like obviously he was talking to Will. Obviously he had things going on. Like I think Devin's game is just something that's kind of misunderstood.
So you're saying Devin voted out a lot of people. Who here is because Devin voted them out?
Okay, I'm not gonna say it's because.
Yeah, I
Okay,
agree
fine.
with that.
Who,
No.
Yeah,
who's
what?
here and,
Well,
I don't
and
think
Devin
Devin
wrote your name down?
Actually,
no, that's what I'm saying.
Devin wrote your name down.
I think he wrote my name down, but I don't think he orchestrated it.
No, he didn't.
I know Dylan
That's
orchestrated
my
it, but he
social
didn't.
bond
Yeah.
with Devin,
Period.
along
So I
with
can't
my
say
perceptions of how she was talking to me when we talked, when you told me that you would be bitter if I didn't vote you would be bitter if I voted you out at 10 and you wouldn't be if I kept you around. I knew that at that point, A, you were getting to my head, and B, my
Except I
social-
didn't say I would be bitter. I said I'd be upset.
You said
I
you
said
were.
it's
not
I'm
about
upset.
you were
Yes,
telling
Austin, that's
You
not
two.
important. We're talking about
We're all
Devin and
Devin
Devin.
and
That's not
I'm
important.
getting to that. I'm
One at
getting
a
to that.
time.
Because my social bond I had with Devin made me realize I can't turn on him because he's done so much for me in the game, and that is exemplified by everything he did. I've got 26 parts.
Can you share that with us? What is that?
Like really, really quick.
Yeah, can you throw like some
What
highlights?
is that?
This is my
Pick like
grandmaster
three.
list. You wanted receipts? Here's your receipt in 26 parts.
How much of
Everything-
that happened after the merge?
A lot of it. Let's see.
How
Give me
much of
one,
that
give
was
me
Devin
one.
following
Wait,
other
just say
people
something.
did?
Yeah.
Can we have like the three best things that
from this.
After the merge. I want to hear after the
How
merge.
about each of you say one different thing that you think Devin did was good? I want to hear one from each of you. Like, what did you think Devin did?
After merge, period.
Okay, I want to give some points because first of all, like I was working very closely with Devin after I had basically had no one left. In
He
the
literally
game.
just like replaced Eliza though for you. You
No,
like with
yeah,
Eliza.
let's let him finish, Emily. Let him finish.
Yeah, anyway, so my point was Devin was really smart and he like was incredibly strategic at the plans he would make. Like we literally would draw out every single possible like meeting we could have with people, the pros and cons of it, and we made charts about like if Dylan responds affirmatively to this question, then we should try to like reaffirm a conversation with Erin and see where we'll go with her. And it was like, so my point with Devin is just because perhaps a lot of people who were on Tafiti had never really met with Devin that much. The people that actually were in an alliance with Devin in this game, he was an incredible strategist who like helped steer the direction to try to move forward together. And I think much more so than Dylan, because I didn't personally work with Dylan that much until the end when I was in an alliance with him, where basically he just lied to me. And I think my point is that the key difference I see at the end is that I don't think much of them did very much as far as crossing lines between alliances. But when it came down to it, Devin really was more honest with the people he wanted to work with. While right around the time that Dylan stole Brady's immunity, from that point forward, he just sort of started making selfish moves / lying to people's faces without it necessarily benefiting him. Like I don't see his lies as being necessary lies to advance his game.
So, like, I'm glad you brought up Dylan because we've been talking about Devin a lot.
Yeah.
So, what has Dylan done to get into the final two? Yes.
On the radar.
Go for it.
I played his game kind of a lot in the end. And I don't think a lot of people noticed
expand on
that Eliza vote 100% orchestrated by me. Austin vote
I feel
100%
like we can give
orchestrated
Aaron
by
credit
me.
for that one.
Not about y'all's game. It's not about y'all's game.
We're trying to shit on Dylan's game, not yours.
Of Austin being voted out was actually from both Dylan and Aaron, because Dylan had approached me and we met up and discussed that we had to get Brady out right away, and he proposed the idea of, well, if Brady wins immunity, would you and Devin be on board to vote out Austin? So at least I perceived it as that being coming
I
from
told Dylan
and
to
not
come
from
to
you.
you.
You told Dylan to come.
So then, Cassie, if you are saying that you orchestrated all of Dylan's moves, why would you vote for him if you didn't do
I
it?
know, that's what I'm saying. I'm not as locked in as I think I am, and it's hard for me to say because Dylan ended up doing, I truly believe that Dylan did do more in the end. He used me in kind of a smart way. And your vote especially, I said, you know what? She just wants to hear that somebody's going to take her to the final two. And that's exactly what he did, and it worked for him, and that's how I got voted out, for example.
So she just called
You're
me.
right.
So do you want to respond to that?
No, yeah, so you're right. So Dylan did exactly what he needed to do to get further in the game by talking to me.
Mm-hmm.
I met with you personally, I think, like one-on-one twice.
Mm-hmm.
I set up both of those conversations. Dylan and I met, like, Dylan was the person who post-merge I met one-on-one with the third most. First was Brady, second was Will, and third was Dylan. And so Dylan and I were always touching base. Dylan always was we always knew what was going on with each other. And Dylan knew, like he was very invested in this game, and he was very invested in each move. And, like, Dylan's closest ally was voted out of the swap, and he came back from that. And, like, he played this, he actually played this game. He set up the conversations he needed to, and he talked to the people that he needed to get himself further. And that's why his name was never written down. Not once.
So that's actually a really good point. This guy has not had his name written down once. So is that like a really big deal, or does it mean he's not playing at all?
I see it as him flying under the radar in the same way as
First
Devin.
half of the game.
I think it's impressive, but there have been people in Survivor who have gotten no votes. Look at right now. Like in David versus Goliath, you have some people who have gotten no votes who have done practically nothing post-merge. Who've done nothing, very little coincidentally pre-merge either. So, I'm talking about you, Mike White. So, really...
Who's Mike White?
Don't worry about
Not
it. So, really,
That's
getting no votes at this point doesn't really mean a whole lot. Yes, it's impressive. Yes, it's one for the trivia books. And as someone who's made the spreadsheets, I respect that. But that's really the only thing I can really give him from my point of view.
I would say also, like, there was a couple of times, like, multiple times where I've tried reaching out to Dylan and tried to talk strategy with Dylan, and he literally, like, I would, like, make my argument, and he'd be like, okay, and be like, okay, so is there anything you want to say to me? Like, and he's like, no, and it's like during Rocks, when, like, we were leaving our game up to chance, like, I tried to, I told Dylan, like, this, you should flip, da-da-da, and he's like, okay, I'm not gonna flip, and I was like, okay, well, do you want to try, like, flipping me? And he was like, no, like, he didn't even seem like he cared, like, it didn't even seem like he wanted to put the effort in.
We all
We all did the same thing.
But we tried. Like we tried so hard.
And
Like, you guys tried to
Remember
fix
what
it.
you
Dylan
That's
tried
funny to me
to
because you
try.
guys cooked the fuck out of me, but I tried really hard to flip Devin, and it's just like
You
that's
heard
really
that you
interesting.
tried once. You met once.
Yeah, but I heard the exact same conversation and I wasn't gonna flip, so why would I spend hours of my life? And I will not.
Okay, so it doesn't matter. Alright, a rock tribal that happened in the finals. Okay.
Not
15,
even.
out of 15,
Also,
not even interesting.
I tried talking to Dylan multiple times, and each time he won't. Like he literally wouldn't. Like I would make an argument for 10 minutes, and he wouldn't even like respond practically.
So do you think that's
So
just
it's
like extreme loyalty? So is that like a big
It just
thing, or-
showed like lack of care. Like it's like you don't want to like make the effort.
When did this happen?
Like when I would meet that I would go down the week before that.
did he
things
tell,
like that,
like,
I'd try talking.
Yeah,
did he tell
Ben,
you
go
he
for
said
it.
that she was meeting with
Ben,
you?
guys, let's listen to Ben.
I have a question for everyone.
Yeah.
As I feel like as probably this. I have a question for everyone as I feel like I'm probably as.
Hangouts and stuff?
Yo,
One
guys,
person
Ben is
at a
talking right now.
time.
I have a question. I feel like as I am probably one of the most swing votes in this situation.
What makes you say that?
Because both of them do seem very similar to me, and you can argue, like I feel like both sides can be argued that a lot of game was played in the second half, but I have not seen any results of either of them playing a lot in the second half. And so right now I'm leaning towards both because on one hand, you know, Dylan was actually there reaching out to me when I was still in the game, and even though my game was completely toast, and on the other hand, Devin made a good play at like the swap vote. So my question is who should I vote for? Who should I vote for? No, but like, who should I vote for in this situation where Devin? Why should I vote for Devin if Devin? I feel like since the rock vote or since the swap vote, I haven't talked to him, and I do want to give him a chance because I'm so undecided right now. Why should I vote for Devin?
Here, vote.
Okay, so
Yeah,
He has
Read
something
this.
for you.
I would like to. I want to read.
21 out of 25 of these are post-merge. Also,
the first point.
he was drunk, so I'll give him that.
Do you remember when we went around during the party and told everyone that we were voting Devin because we were definitely not voting Devin and we wound up.
I remember hearing
He
about
was
it, yeah.
drunk,
I was
so I didn't know
I was
Why
actually-
were you drunk?
Alright, Aaron, do you have a real point?
Yeah,
It was
so
Cooper's party.
here's my thing with Devin. He had very strong bonds with you guys, right? He was very loyal to Sabu all the time. Good for him. But he literally said to me on several occasions, Devin said, I don't reach out to people. I've reached out to maybe 3 people in this game. One of those people was me. I don't know who else. But like Will. And like but Devin
He
also
reached out to me 20 minutes before the last tribal.
Sure, okay. So
Your
Devin
last try?
But like, so Devin didn't reach out to people. He didn't work to like sure he strengthened the bonds that came to him, but he didn't create those.
Yeah, okay,
He
so
didn't-
who
he
did
didn't
Dylan
start
reach out
it.
to?
Dylan-
Who did
Dylan
Dylan
reached
reach
out
out
to
to
me.
on the
Dylan-
other side?
Dylan never
But
reached out to
you
me.
were
Dylan never
Alright,
reached out to
so
me.
no,
So,
I was
guys,
very
we're running out of time. No, you can't actually, because we're running out of time.
This is actually really important.
Okay,
You should have said it in the chat.
Now I want to hear.
Crows for each other.
What do you guys want to hear at Final Tribal? What do you want your justice?
Just quickly, because we're running out of time. So just quickly.
I want to hear them own their own games. I don't want to hear them try to take credit for things they didn't do.
Okay, Emma.
I want to hear humility, that they know what they did wrong, what they did right.
Other Emma.
I just want to be able to hear them like articulate their strategies throughout the game and show that they made intentional moves and that they care.
Elisa.
A lot of game, I feel like has happened since I got voted out, so I want to know what else they've done that I don't know about.
Austin.
You.
Austin.
I want to hear them show how they've grown from day 1 to day 100.
Brady.
I want to hear Devin owning what he did or the lack of what he did, and I want to see Dylan saying that he didn't do shit in the beginning, that he actually came alive at the end.
Will.
I want to know how close the two of them actually are.
Cassie.
Oh, this is tough. I don't know. I want to hear something from Devin that doesn't have to do with the magic stuff.
Aaron.
I want to hear Devin justify how consciously not playing the game constitutes playing the game.
So, is it true that right now either of them could win?
Yes.
I think we're all in.
Absolutely.
That is the best way to head off to Final Tribal now. So that
You
is.
guys might have to rock.
One, two, three.
Richard, what's up, dude? I guess I didn't get the memo on black shirts.
I'm always in a black shirt. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, how are you guys?
I'm good. A long time no see.
I know, for real. Good to see you all.
Hello, y'all.
Hi. Hello.
Are we started recording yet, Ian?
Yes.
Yeah, but
Okay.
I'm gonna end up editing it, so like, don't worry if you say anything, untoward or something.
Okay.
Hi, Dylan.
Everybody.
A nice background.
Yeah, what background is that? Is that the Lions?
That's the Lions Stadium.
Love it.
12-0, baby. Or 16-0.
17, dude.
17.
17.
So who are we waiting? Just waiting on Devin.
I tried everyone.
How you guys been? Everyone been good?
Chilling.
No.
Solid.
Harry Potter.
Halloween.
That's good. That's very Mazed and Confused Harry Potter, I feel like.
It's almost
fits the
Halloween.
vibes.
I still have my Magic Mike background somewhere. I can find it.
That sounds perfect.
All right, who is pals with Devin? Who wants to side message him?
Dylan.
I haven't talked to him in a while, but I'll do it.
I don't even have his number.
I mean, I'm assuming it's in the group chat, Chloe.
He is in the group chat,
I
but
hadn't added it until that happened.
I'll give him a few more minutes.
Should I
and then we'll
call him
just-
and put him on speaker?
All right, well, I guess
didn't
we'll
get him.
just start without Devin. And if he jumps on at some point, then if he jumps on, I don't know. All right, welcome to Survivor Michigan Mazed and Confused reunion. So exciting to see everybody here. We're gonna have each of you guys just introduce yourselves real quick, and talk about where you've been since the season ended, what you're up to these days. Chloe, you're the first one in my view of the screen, so we're gonna start with you.
Okay. Well, I'm Chloe. I was on season 3. I did not do very well, but I made great friends and I've since graduated college. And I am now back home in New York City, where I work.
I'm Richard. I also didn't do very well in season 3, though some people think I did the best, but that's some people. It's just their opinion. I don't want to say they're wrong. And what am I doing now? Amazing things that I'm not allowed to talk about. It's classified.
Eliza, how about you? What have you been up to?
I graduated college the summer after I played Survivor, or the spring after I played Survivor, and then COVID hit, so I feel like a lot has twisted and turned, but I'm now living in DC and working here.
Brady?
Yeah, I graduated a year and a half ago, and I moved down to South Carolina doing all them engineering things down here, and also I'm the host of All Stars, obviously, so that's gonna be airing soon. Go watch it if you're watching this.
Last but certainly not least, Dylan, where have you been since you won Survivor?
Yeah, so I'm Dylan. I did pretty well in the first season 3 of Survivor. And since graduating, I actually moved down to Tampa, chasing the warmth down here. I wanted to get out of the Michigan winters for a while. So if anyone's down in Tampa, please say what's up.
Well, the first thing I wanted to ask you guys was, with the season being filmed almost 4 years ago, have any of your thoughts changed on anything now? Do you ever reflect back on it differently than you did at the time?
I was just like a little baby when it happened. Like, I think just watching back on it, both like physically and just like the sense of naiveness, if that's a word, that like I had no idea like the production quality that this was gonna have. I had no idea like how hard to try. Like, I had no idea how like conniving and scheming it was. And then obviously like producing season 4 and then like hosting All Stars and then whatever happens after that. Like, the knowledge of Survivor and College Survivor in general is just like, it's so much bigger than I thought it was when I was in the moment. So just thinking back, I was like, oh, like that's little baby Brady, and now we've grown up.
In terms of how I view myself in the game, it's literally the same. I fucked up. 4 years later, did I fuck up? Yeah. But when you fuck up, you get better. So I got better. Now I'm like 10 times the player I was. If I got to play season 3 again, I'd kick all your asses. But, we'll never know.
I don't know how much my perspective has changed in the last 4 years, but I think my perspective changed a lot after watching the season. Because I feel like when you are playing, you're so in your own world, in your own bubble, and what's going on around you. And it was really interesting to watch, like what was going on to Petey or Tomenta or the other tribes. I feel like there was so much more that was going on that I had no idea.
When I decided to join, Lucy introduced me. I thought it'd be, something fun. The challenges seemed like a good time. I never expected to do well, and I didn't even really understand what was going on at the beginning of the game. Didn't have a lot of Survivor background either. And like Brady mentioned, this has just been, opened up a whole new world, and it's been great to meet a lot of people that way.
I do love seeing that we are now filming season 10, I think, and it's crazy how long it's been and how much longevity this organization now has. And I'm just like so happy to see it grow, because I know when we were first in it, production was so brand new. No one really had any idea what they were doing, us included. And now it's great to see that they're doing so many great things.
Yeah, one thing that's kind of surprised me too is that I feel like it's still, the fact that I played College Survivor still comes up in conversations. I feel like people got really into Survivor during COVID, especially a lot of people binged it. And people were talking about it a lot more. And I feel like to this day still, like it comes up every so often, which is kind of funny none of my other college clubs I still talk about. So it's fun.
Yeah, what is the weirdest context in which it has come up for any of you guys?
I had a funny one. If anyone also doesn't know, or I guess who will be watching, I moved into Cooper's house and Ian's house, among others, for my senior year. And upon, putting before moving out and assisting in the rental process for our great landlord, there was a group that came by to tour the house, and just random group, didn't know anyone. They're freshmen or sophomores coming in, and I opened up the door to let them come in to tour, and the guy in the back of the group goes, "Are you Dylan from Survivor?" And I was like, what are the odds of that? Unfortunately couldn't get the house passed down to him. That would have been great. But I know I just sent to the big Survivor group chat today the table that's been being passed down through that house with from Ian and Cooper, among others. And it's cool the longevity of passing those things down as well.
So somebody looking at the house recognized you?
Somebody looking at the house recognized me as I opened up the door to let everyone in. And, that was a surreal moment, it's not like we're getting millions of views on YouTube, but even for, somebody you've never met on campus, to see that they have, interest in College Survivor just, speaks to Michigan Survivor spreading around campus.
Anybody else have any funny stories about College Survivor coming up in their regular life?
I was actually on a first date, and I was on this date, and the other person says that the only reason they agreed to the date was because they knew me from Survivor Michigan. I just like had this look of horror on my face because I don't want anyone's first impression of me to be Survivor Michigan season 3 episode 1 ever. And
even so, you landed the date.
I guess it
Yeah,
worked.
it worked. Got you something.
How did the date go?
Well, we'll leave. That's classified information, Ian.
Okay.
No, I had a very similar story where I was like going on a first date with someone. They had Googled my name before, like again in South Carolina. They had Googled my name, and like Survivor Michigan's like the 4th or 5th thing to pop up. And so they were just like, by the way, like just want to address this, and pulled up the host reveal video, which is like just the most embarrassing thing.
You're not gonna tell me. You'll never forget me.
I was just like, what is this? And I was like, okay. And then I had to like go into like a deep explanation of Survivor.
I'm Brady. I'll be your host for Survivor Michigan All-Stars Revenge Tour.
That's great. I'm so glad I talked you guys into doing that one. I had to really bully all 3 of you guys into that. But
we really did.
Has your family seen it? Or your friends who are not in Survivor? And if so, what do they think about it?
Well, it's great because I'm like, they're like, oh, I don't want to commit to watching like 13 hours of YouTube. And I'm like, no, it's cool. All you have to do is watch the first episode. And then if you don't like it, you don't have to watch anymore. And then I watch as they're like, I start saying the numbers and they just look at me like I'm the biggest idiot of all time. So that's how it goes most of the time. It's not good. At this point, I don't even tell people to watch it. It's too embarrassing.
That's what I do. No one I know outside of Survivor has seen it to my knowledge, and I try to keep it that way. They all think it's still being edited. We'll see if they ever find out.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah. I'm just like, yeah, no, it'll come out. The editing process is so long.
Not in years.
And then I have to go be like, oh yeah, well, I can't hang out tonight. Like I'm filming like a Survivor podcast. And they were like, oh, so your stuff's coming out? I'm like, no. It's like in preparation for the future. Yeah, don't worry about it. Just digging the hole of lies, just like Survivor.
I'm a foot.
All my friends, and I mean not all of them, but a good chunk of them watched and got a good kick out of it. So it was fun, and like some of the episodes I watched with them, so it was fun to do it all.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing as Eliza. Also, it was funny because of that. At least some of my friends introduced it to their parents, and I had an instance where I was visiting my friend for the first time in California, hadn't met his parents before. And, when they came to pick us up from the airport, I obviously introduced myself, and his mom was like, oh, I already know you from Survivor. And I had no idea she'd even watched Survivor. And I was like, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But for my parents, I didn't know if it was, like some of your other opinions, if it would be good for them to watch, but how much time, we spent putting into week after week and, upholding alliances and, the hours being put into production. I had to justify the time being spent away from academics in some sort of way. So I made sure that they watched.
Yeah, a couple of my friends actually watched a month ago. They randomly decided to watch it for the first time. And they watched season 3 and they really loved it. And then they watched season 4 and they were obsessed. I mean, this is about season 4, but they were obsessed with Dale and they recorded a little video and sent it to him like literally a month ago. And it was kind of funny. I'm sure Dale was a bit confused, but maybe
I bet he got a kick out of that.
I'm sure he got a kick out of it. Yeah.
Did they, when you showed it to them, did your friends know like how you did on it?
I can't remember because I told them about it years ago, like when it came out. And I think they're one of the group of people that got into Survivor during the pandemic. And then I guess they finished all the seasons and were like, okay, now it's time to watch Elisa's Survivor. And so they just watched it. Yeah.
Do any of you guys remember there being anything that you really like hoped would make the season that did not make the season, or any kind of inside tidbits that people might not know?
Wait, Elisa, did our conversation during the Rocks week?
Oh, actually, yes. That's
Yes.
what I wish had made the edit. That was a funny conversation.
Yeah, so it didn't make it, but
Mhm.
me and Elisa met during the week of Rocks, talked about it, and they're like, you gonna flip? No, how about you? And it didn't really go anywhere. And then I remember walking away and my phone buzzes and I got a text that just from Elisa that just says, oh, by the way, guys, like Brady's not flipping. And I was just like, so you meant to send that to your tribe, right?
I feel like I miss text. Like I send the wrong person a text once every 5 years, and it happened to be after I talked to Brady. I was walking and texting, and I meant to text Abu Sabra, and I texted Brady instead. But it was pretty funny. That was a funny like confessional, I think.
That was hilarious. And I remember I used that, like I showed it to people in my tribe and it was just like, guys, just so you know, I'm not flipping. Elisa actually texted me this, you guys know.
That happened a lot. My roommate was named Chloe and my sister was named Chloe, and we all went to school together. I would always be so worried that someone would see Chloe pop up on my phone and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I promise it's my sister and my roommate. It's not Chloe.
Speaking of the Rocks tribal, one person asked how in the world you guys felt comfortable both holding on to the idols at that tribal. So both Elise and Brady had idols at the Rocks tribal. And did you guys ever consider playing those for yourselves, or you felt fine doing the rock draw?
Literally not and I think maybe Brady, we've even talked about this, but I didn't consider it for 1 second. I didn't it's like we had no idea who the other tribe was going to play their vote on. And it felt like it was more, at least for me, it was better to take the risk of pulling a rock. Like it felt like my odds were low enough in that, or like maybe someone would flip or maybe things would change or whatnot. But I especially knew that going into the next week, even before everything that happened the next week happened, like I felt pretty sure that I would need my idol later on because I didn't feel like I was in a position among the 3 tribes. Like I think we knew that week that we would likely swap the next week. And I knew going into a swap, I would need my idol more. So I didn't consider it for a second.
Yeah, I had similar thought process. I was like kind of looking at 2 things. One, I'm just like very much a numbers person. I was like, there's like a 12.5% chance drawing a rock. Like there's an almost 88% chance I'm fine. Screw it. We'll just like full send it. And second was the fact that I had already lied about not having the idol so much to my entire tribe. Yeah, mostly Chloe.
Me.
That if I had just like whipped it out and been like, I'm gonna play this, or whipped out and been like, by the way, I've been holding on to this and lying to you guys the entire week. Let's try to figure out who they're voting for and play it on. I feel like all trust would have just been lost. My game would have been shot. So there's just no way I was playing it.
Similar question. Someone asked, what do you guys think Andrew's chances in the game were if he had not drawn the rock?
Pretty good. I think he would have made it really far. I mean, probably a similar arc to Brady. Like he's another like physically strong male with charisma. Like they have very similar personalities in a lot of ways. So I would have expected him to make it really far, if not to the end.
No, he wouldn't have won.
No one's confident.
Would you have taken him out first chance you had, Dylan?
Devin and I would have gotten him for sure.
I think I agree with Chloe. I think like me and Andrew would have played like very similar games. I feel like the one thing that might have been different is that like that was when like Torfidi was kind of becoming a thing. And then if Andrew, such a strong player, was still in there, it might have just changed the whole dynamics where like Tormented and Torfidi would have actually wanted to like work together and been like, we need to get Andrew out like immediately. So I don't know. Like it's all up in the air. But yeah, could very much see a similar game in mind as well.
Somebody asked, season 3 is usually seen as like the most kind of emotional season of Survivor Michigan, at least that's been released so far of seasons 1 through 4. There's obviously like the Rocks tribal and it got very heated, the Ben Bomb email scandal. There was a lot of people crying at various times. Is there anything with any of that you look back on now and think, oh, that was a little overblown, that didn't need to happen? Or do you look back on it and think, no, yeah, I still feel that most of that stuff was, I don't know, justified in one way or the other?
I mean, I think in the moment we're all in this bubble and we're going through this big thing that's like occupying most of our time. Even as students, like you are constantly in class texting everyone in Survivor. You are very emotionally invested in the thing. So no matter how far out you get from it, like at the time it was justified in the sense that like we were also emotionally invested. Any emotional reaction is like a valid one. That being said, I said stupid things. Other people said stupid things that we regret. Obviously, I regret those things, but it was the heat of the moment. Like we all talked it out after. And I think any grudges being held since then have mostly subsided as it pertains to the season. Like we got over it. It was very insulated into the season for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, yeah, when you're in the season, like you can't keep emotions out of it. It's just how it is. And everyone like deals with it differently. And like I personally wasn't attacked that much. And so like the Ben mom and things that happened, like I'm like, I remember being in the game being like, okay, cool, that happened. Like, how do we move forward in the game? What's happening? When like in reality it affected like so many more people, like more heavily emotionally. So like, yeah, were there definitely moments that like it got out of hand? Like, absolutely. Like the Rocks tribal could have very easily been like us being like, we're not flipping, you're not flipping, cool, you're not flipping, boom, let's draw some rocks. But instead it was just like chaos for like an hour and just like got way too like personal and like crazy. But yeah, I mean, when you're playing a game that's literally as insane and like in depth, like as Clay was saying, where every day you're doing something for it, like it just kind of happens.
It's funny that tribal, like both sides felt so justified in not flipping and like having the other side flip. You know, it was just so funny. Like it was just like, you know, pretty close down the middle to the point where yeah, I mean everyone's seen Andrew's math. But the gist of it, like everyone was so ingrained in their own heads that flipping for their favor would be the best, that you just couldn't comprehend the other side not wanting to do it.
Mm-hmm. Have any of you guys ever thought about the plan that Andrew proposed to like flip a coin and stuff? And if there's a scenario where you could have agreed to it, because I've always thought that makes complete sense and everyone should have maybe agreed to it if he had been able to explain it somehow like ahead of time or in like a better way, maybe.
I think that requires a level of rationality that we didn't have. I think we were too emotional and like stuck in our ways, and like I remember being like, why would Andrew even say that? He's making us look weak.
I thought it was a horrible idea.
Yeah, so I think you always think when you watch Survivor, like they're not making the rational choice. Why are they doing that? But so much of it is wrapped up in emotions, and when you're thinking emotionally, it's extra hard to think rationally, especially at a Rocks tribal.
Yeah, I would have thought, you know, even if it was the most scientifically, mathematically proven sound plan, that he was still trying to snake me in some way. It wouldn't have mattered.
Yep.
So there couldn't have been any way for it to be fair in my head in that time.
And like, no one wants to be the first person to be like, you know what? I agree with someone on the other tribe of this very emotionally driven tribal. Like, even if like, it would have had to like be all of us coming together like separately, individually, and been like, maybe we should have all agreed to do this, but someone had to be the first person and it would have made you look bad and weak and you could just miss that.
And also I think we were all willing to play the odds and just hope that it was somebody from the other person's tribe who would go home.
Richard, if you had been at the Rocks tribal, would you have gone to Rocks?
No. But that's I mean, they had already voted me out by that point. Perhaps if they hadn't voted me out, I would have still liked them.
That'd be offended.
Yeah, I don't know. It really depends, because I think at that point I was already like, I was just, I think if I just got past the first week, I would have like changed how I was playing anyway, because I was kind of playing very erratic that first week. And I think if I had just been able to settle in, it would have been fine. But who knows? I personally don't think I would have gone to Rocks in that situation, because I think I was trying to get Austin out anyway at the first tribal. So I can't imagine there's a situation where I would have gone to Rocks with them after, but who knows?
Have any of you guys considered applying for the real show, or would you ever think about doing it?
I have already.
You
But,
applied?
Aaron and I and some other people. We did the in-person audition. Had to have been what, 2 or 3 years ago.
Was that the summer of 2019 when I was gonna come, but I twisted
Yeah.
my ankle the same
Yes.
day?
Yeah. We went to Detroit, and wow, I was unprepared for what that was going to be like. It was so weird. It was, it was almost like we just did it in like an art van, and there was just cameras everywhere, and the line was crazy long, and then you just get up, and it felt so robotic. Some people prepared better, but you just have 60 seconds to stand in front of a camera and say your name, where you're from, and whatever you want to get out in like 60 seconds. I felt personally my audition was pretty poor, but I mean, obviously it didn't work out, but I would much rather go the video submission route rather than the in-person. I don't know how beneficial, or if they prioritize the in-person or not, but I don't see how you can how you can pick from that.
Would you ever submit like the video thing, you think?
Yeah, I think I need to beef up a little bit, maybe a few years down the line when I'm not working so much, but they kind of want that. They kind of want you to just like, seems like they just want you to ditch your life as much as possible to get on Survivor. I would do it. Probably not right now, but I think down the line it'd be fun.
Anybody else?
I really want to do it. And I always think like, oh, I need to submit a video. But the editing always is something I never want to do. Like I never want to splice together a video. So I need to like get over that.
I know that Dale was talking about putting together like a highlight reel of his of what he thought was like his best scenes from like the show, like Survivor Michigan, and trying to send that in. I don't know how useful that would be, but Brady, Richard, Chloe, you guys ever thought about it?
I think I made one like overlaid with the comments from season 3, episode 1 of like, I'll be like talking about how great I am, and then there's a comment of like, wow, what an absolute moron. And then I thought, but I didn't get a call back, unfortunately.
Yeah, I feel similar to Dylan, where I'm just like, I can't just drop off my life right now, like young professional trying to build a career, like just stopping and like quitting a job to go play Survivor is really feasible. Me and Shane, the host of Survivor Carnegie Mellon, we did apply to The Amazing Race because I figured out that if like we got casted, I could like just burn all my PTO and do it. But yeah, I haven't applied to Survivor.
I do not see myself doing it. I don't think I am physically built for that in any way. If I don't eat for like 12 hours, I will pass out. And that sounds like an exaggeration, but I will. And it would be funny TV, but it would probably not be very good for me. So I'm going to opt out of that one, but I love watching it from the comfort of my air-conditioned living room. That's my ideal.
Dylan, somebody asked why. It said, Dylan, why the fuck did you agree to come back on All Stars being the only winner? Do you enjoy being torn into pieces? So what is your thoughts on that? No spoilers, but why did you feel, confident that, you could make a second run at this?
I think the main reason I knew I was going to be a huge threat, and I just wanted to see what that challenge would be like. If, doing it with people that is a completely different ball game than a bunch of people that you've never met. And so I think it's just just a new challenge, a whole different animal to try to tackle. And I thought that would, that'd be at least fun to try.
So Eliza, these guys were all around in some capacity, but do you think if you had been on campus again, like, would you have done a third round? Like, would you have wanted to do it again for All Stars after seasons 3 and 4?
Well, I think the reason I played season 4 was because I knew I wasn't going to be around for All Stars, because I knew that was going to be the season after I graduated. So I think had I been like a junior when I played season 3, I just wouldn't have played season 4. I think a lot of the people who played season 4, who were the returnees, we played because for some reason or another, we didn't think we'd be able to play All Stars. So like back to back to back definitely would have been a lot of college Survivor, but I think it would have been fun to play All Stars. And it would have been fun to be part of production. So
How much do you know about? Do you know everything, or how much do you know about it?
I know bits and pieces. I think I was part of the Slack group maybe that we had at the time, but I also was like, I had graduated. I was like doing, like entering the world for the first time. I think I had a lot going on. So I can't remember a lot of it, but I feel like I know bits and pieces here and there.
Are you gonna get your friends who watch season 3 and 4 to watch All Stars?
Oh, of course. Gotta support the club.
Somebody asked, who are you still friends with, and is there any bad blood with anyone? I don't know if anyone feels comfortable answering that, but it was posed.
Ouch and I are mortal enemies. No, just kidding.
I won't jump into the bad blood of it, but I mean, there definitely are like little alliances, and like when we play like Survivor drinking games or other stuff, like you can see where they like pop up and the conflict happens. But as for friends, me, Chloe, and Aaron are like besties.
We talk every day, to this day.
Yeah, all day, every day. So,
every day, yo.
Every day.
Okay. I don't think I can compete
Send
with
a
that.
lot of TikToks to each other mostly.
A lot of dog videos, a lot of TikToks, a lot of meaningless voice messages that we just spam each other with. Yeah, it's fun.
Very long voice messages.
Yeah, especially when like 2.5 of us work from home and we're bored.
I still keep in touch with people here and there, and I very last minute just hopped in on a camping trip that like Will and Emily Paddock and I think Sam Morris are going on. So I'll see them this weekend, which is nice.
Sweet. There you go.
There's a lot of people in New York too. Like Cooper and Katie live in New York now. Oh wait, you don't know who Katie is. Cooper lives in New York now.
We're getting on production for season.
True. She has a little cameo in every season. So it's great to maintain these friendships because there's so many great people in the Survivor community, including the seasons that we weren't even on production for. Like I still talk to people that are on the upcoming seasons that I didn't even meet when I was in college. And then I just met them like coming back to Michigan to visit. So it's this community that really stays alive. And it's like this really unique experience that everyone has in common that you really, no one else gets it unless you did it yourself. So it's a really great way to bond with people that you might have never talked to before.
I think I'm going to move to New York, hopefully next
Really?
year. Maybe I'll see you there.
Oh, exciting stuff. Richard, how about you? You still in touch with anybody?
Well, we all know the famous line, I have enough friends, don't need any more, but I have managed to fit a few into my life. So it's been good. It's been good. Been good meeting all these Survivor people who are crazy in the best way.
I don't know, anything else? Anything anyone feels like they really need to get off their chest or that we did not discuss that you really wanted to talk about?
Watch All Stars. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, stay tuned for All Stars. It's gonna be epic. So
Wait, so when's All Stars airing? Do we know yet?
Officially, we do not know yet. Unofficially. All right, well, welcome to the Survivor Michigan Mazed and Confused crew reunion. So real quick, everyone just briefly introduce themselves and say, what you did on the crew, if you did anything in particular, or if not, just like something about your time on the crew.
Sure. So, yep. My name is Akshay. I played season 1. I was part of the exec-ish group of season 3. We were just kind of the people that did season 2 and season 3, so we got it by default. And my primary responsibility during filming was to FaceTime Sarah X and make sure she was there for everything.
Yeah, season 3 was the first time I was on production. So, I mean, I came in and I was just really excited to be on the other side of the camera, helping plan challenges and film and all that stuff. And, later on down the road, I helped with the editing of the season and all that jazz. So good stuff.
Don't forget you were the treasurer. We had
that's true.
Our budget was perfect.
Oh yeah, absolutely perfect. Perfect job as treasurer. Not one mistake I can speak to, not even a little bit.
I'm Bree, and I helped out with castings, like doing interviews and stuff, and then challenges. But really, just because it was like my first season producing, it was whatever the execs needed. I was there.
Yeah, I'm Cooper. I was the host. Honestly, I feel like even though everybody said what they like specifically did, we really all just did pitch in for season 3. Like it was still a small enough crew. Like everybody was doing everything. Like you kind of just showed up and then found something to do. So everyone kind of had their role, but season 3 production was like peak production for Survivor. And this was
before the dark times.
I can't speak to. I can't say the same thing about the vibes from the cast, but the vibes from production were great during season 3.
Yeah. Okay, so like getting into a bit, this is known as sort of the darkest year of our adventures for Survivor Michigan. A lot of people have commented about how dark the season was and how intense it was. Did that come across to you guys when it was happening? How did you guys feel about the season as it played out in that fashion?
I don't know that it was coming across as like dark, more so just like intense. Like I feel like the people on prod were like, holy shit, this is such a good season, because every single week there was like personal drama, there was like strategic drama, there was something happening every single day in the game of season 3. It was changing constantly. So there were points where it was like dark and very, very emotional, obviously, but like I feel like the overall tone was just more intense and like, oh my God, this season is amazing.
Well, I think also too, part of it was like we took it more seriously because we had like the real tribal councils outside. It was like we were really like a club, and we were like, this is real life. And that translated, I think, too, to the cast, because they also like were taking it very seriously. And yeah, but I think a lot of the personal drama that a lot of them I think were happening outside of the game is what kind of made it dark. And they weren't really escaping the personal drama within the game.
Definitely the outdoor tribals at the Triangle Fraternity added a particular it added an energy to it that the other tribal councils didn't have, I'll say.
Yeah, I definitely think the outdoor tribal, and in like a fire pit, like compared to where we were season 1, we were outside the like athletic academic building or whatever the heck that was. It was a very awkward setting. Like we were on stairs, none of us were comfortable, versus like these guys had benches. The only discomfort they had was the fact that smoke was flying into their face every tribal. But it was like, especially the pre-merge was like game wise, we were just super excited because they were just absolutely wild tribals happening like every single week. And then post-merge happened and the Ben bomb, and it was just like, oh my God, this just went from this is an amazing game to what the hell is happening.
So I got a question about casting. Someone said, why so many Emilys? So does anyone have any response to that?
I mean, I feel like we cast whoever we think is going to be the best fit. Like whoever we think is going to be the most entertaining, the best for the season on the screen, we're just going to cast. Like, I don't think we really paid attention to the names. We knew it was like funny, and there was a chance all 3 were going to end up on the same tribe because we knew we were doing like
random tribes.
Like they were going to choose them themselves. So like if the Emilys had all grouped up, it would have been really funny. But they ended up all on different tribes, which is also just kind of weird. But we didn't really.
It became a Survivor Michigan tradition where it was like the Alex's season 1, and then the Sarah's season 2, and then the Emily's season 3. So we were just like, this is great. We got another one this season.
I thought we were trying to draft to make, eventually get ready for the Emily versus Sarah season. So we obviously needed to cast as many Emily's as possible, and add another Sarah to the list as well.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for Survivor
versus Sarah season at this point. There's a lot of them.
We could do Emily's versus Sarah's versus Alex's.
Yeah.
Done.
Or Jax. There's so many Jacks and Jacksons. And
oh yeah.
Someone with Jack in their name. Yeah.
What else? All right. Was there anybody who crew expected to do really well who did not do well, or vice versa? It's like going into it.
Yeah, Chloe. Off the top of my head, Chloe was a super high draft pick, I'm pretty sure, and we all
number 1.
Yeah, and we all thought she was going to do really well. And I feel like her time got kind of randomly cut short within the game. Like she was in a good spot and then just kind of like got put in a bad spot, like of not really her doing.
Yeah, the
But
swap.
yeah, Chloe for sure of the pre-merge people, I think was the person, and Crouch, Andrew, I think are the two pre-merge that like went sooner than expected.
Crouch for sure, because like Crouch kind of got twist screwed. He definitely got rock screwed. And then Chloe was funny because it started the curse, the first pick in the draft curse, where it was like if you were picked first in the draft, you didn't make merge that season. It was just a guarantee.
I feel like Erin was very underrated because she started out pretty poorly. It was like her tribe was like outcasting her. And I remember like throwing in the chat pretty early being like, Erin's winning. And everyone was like, no.
Yeah.
And then slowly, like it was like every week slowly, she was lasting longer and longer to the point where it was like she honestly was robbed again by a twist that we planned before the season even began. So it just was really bummy that it happened. But I feel like she could have won.
Yeah, no, I really agree with like the Aaron being underrated part, at least like especially the beginning of the game. Like I feel like I remember actually the other day I remember this anecdote. Me and Cooper, I don't know if you remember this, Cooper. We went to like a band party, like a Michigan band party or something with Abby. It's actually how Abby and her boyfriend met. That's the whole thing. But we were there and Aaron was there too. And it was like week 1 or 2 of the game. And I remember we were talking with Aaron kind of at the party, like, oh, hey, producers. He's like, oh, yeah, playing season 3, yada, yada. And I remember like Cooper and I like left the party later. We were like, oh, man, like poor Aaron. Like she has no clue she's going to get voted out this week. Like she's a goner, you know? And, you know, she goes on to, as we saw, do really well, almost win the season. But I remember like for beginning of that school year, we were just like, man, poor Aaron. Like she has no idea.
Yeah, if Nicolas had you know, not posted his muddy shoes, she may have gone home second.
She honestly might have, because I remember I went like back with Tormenta post the first challenge to Espresso Royale rip. And there was like a little bit where Aaron kind of wasn't there, or like she left early, or when they were walking or something happened. And everyone was just like, I don't get good vibes from her. She's gone first if we lose. Boom, boom, boom. And for me, it was like very personal because I only interviewed 3 people the entire casting process. It was Dylan, Devin, and Aaron. And when Aaron was like getting targeted, I was like, oh crap, like my interviewees are cursed, like they're all going to be screwed. And then they ended up being the top 3. So I was so freaking excited when that happened.
Wow, that's wild.
Actually, it really is like the magic, like whatever you interview with Akshay, you're guaranteed to make it to the final 3. How about that?
I interviewed Sam season 2, so that didn't go so well.
No, it didn't. We got the bad luck out of the way in season 2, and you know.
And Bree, actually, didn't I interview you too, Bree?
I was like trying to remember who did. There's 3 of y'all. I just cannot.
Basement
remember.
of the Union.
I feel like you were there. And we were talking about Survivor, like the real show at the time.
So speaking of Aaron, she obviously had, you know, one of the most tumultuous storylines in Survivor Michigan history, going from, you know, the absolute bottom of the barrel, getting shat on by everybody. And then obviously the Ben bomb, and then eventually she's sort of running the game. So with the Ben bomb and all that stuff, somebody asked if production ever considered like stepping in, or like sort of why was that allowed to happen the way it did, or just how did production feel about that entire thing going on, basically?
I want to go in on that because I specifically remember sitting in my astronomy class when Ben was just like, guys, if I get voted out tonight, I'm going to plan on doing this. And it set off an explosion in the production chat where we had like a bunch of people like, do it for the entertainment. And a bunch of people like, hell no, that's not allowed. And it kind of just went back and forth for a while. And then this is when I think it got shifted to execs, and the 5 of us just decided. And I don't remember the exact vote and how it turned out, but I think it was just like, we said, you know what, it's fine, let's let it happen. And then it happened, and we went, that was a bad decision. We're never letting that happen ever again in Survivor.
Yeah, the Ben rule.
So yeah, Ben and I obviously were friends before the season, and he was planning that for like the whole week leading up. And eventually I was like, because I was like, I don't know if you can do this. Like, I don't want to put it on me and you do it and I get in trouble. So like, tell like your producer chat. So like, I kind of was pushing him to do it. That was kind of my encouragement. And so like, I was really hoping it was like pull through. I do remember it was like logistically he had to do it at a certain time, and I don't think he sent it at the right time that like we said he was allowed to. But ultimately, like
Yeah, let me pull up
it
the
created a
receipts.
drama.
You pull it up
What
the
if we?
receipts?
I'm trying to see if I can find his producer. Oh, I can. It's in here. Okay. Let's see what it says.
I'll say that while you're looking for this, Sam, that
Mhm.
because I was like on production for season 3 and 4, but like really like didn't pay much attention to what was going on and didn't know that much about the explicit details of it. So I started editing. And when I was editing season 3, I asked Ben to send me the Ben bomb because I was like, all right, I gotta read this. I need to know what this is all about. And I was disappointed. Like after all the hype and everything about it, I thought it was gonna be way meaner than it actually was when I read it. Like when I read it, I was like,
cast is so sensitive.
when I read it, I was like, maybe it was just after like a year and a half of people being like, yo, this was the craziest shit. And it was basically just, most of it was just like, oh, like Erin's so dumb. Like she thinks she's in an alliance with us. Haha, we're going to vote her out. And I was like, yo, that's it, bro. Like I thought this was going to be like really juicy, but I can see how if you're in the game, you know, the emotions of it are much more different.
You have to put yourself in her shoes of like, these are the friends she's been trying to make and thinks she like has made for like 2 months of her life, like in college, and like has been hanging out with, thinks she's like really cool with, and then like this has been going on for so long that like it was
Yeah, I think that's what it was. It was just like the sheer number of texts, how long it lasted of them just talking about Erin in a negative way. And she had no idea this whole time. And then I think there was literally one screenshot that I remember that got sent like everywhere where it was, I think, just Will saying, let's bully Erin. And I think it might have even been said as like a really poor taste joke, but I think that screenshot specifically became like the representative screenshot of the Ben bomb. And it was just like, that is a horrible text to send in any case. And yeah, it may have gotten blown up out of proportion, but at the same time, in the context, it was really bad.
What'd you find, Sam?
All right, this is interesting. You guys are gonna like this. Okay, so November 4th. There's no context. Okay, this is the last thing he's talking about is like whatever the tribal with where like Sarah Minnis went home. He says, if you want to be included in the email I'm sending out, if the votes are on me, then send me your unique name. It includes every text I've ever sent to Will, the Kroger chat, and the chat with Will and Emily P. Heart emoji. Bailey sends her unique name. I'm so here for this. Lucy sends her unique name. Sarah, wait, emails to everyone in the game, sends her unique name. Ben, everyone except Will and Emily, smiley face. Bailey, I love it when people get exposed. Akshay, you can't send that once you've been voted out. This one got a like from Lucy. Bailey, true, you can only do it before. Ben, I'm aware. 3 likes. Lucy, Bree, and Akshay. Akshay again, only if you're still in the game. Matthew sends his unique name. Kevin says his unique name. I send my unique name. Ben, already drunk at the party. See y'all in 3.5. XOXOXO. Next text is Sarah. You're such a good player. I'm so glad you got to play. Everyone's just like, oh, I miss you, Ben, blah, blah, blah. So basically, it looks like we told him like, oh, yeah, you can only do that if like you're still in the game. And then he basically just like didn't. And we're like, well, can't do anything about it now. He's gone. I don't know if there's other context that happened, but that was in the chat. It made it sound like it sounded like he was like, okay, yeah, I'll only send it when I'm in the game.
I'll say that I'm like,
was in the game. They were reading. I was reading the votes when he sent it. You can go back.
That is true. No, that's true.
I feel like we explicitly said it had to be before you even said like, this is the last thing. Now, like now, blank. It's your time to vote. I think we said that to him. Clearly not in his chat.
What I'll say,
I'm like the producer chat was blowing up whenever the Ben bomb was happening.
And I
so
think
I'm like,
we had said it
mellow.
I think we had said it earlier also, like that was our issue because he didn't know when he was getting voted out and we weren't exactly sure when he was getting voted out. So by the time it came to him actually getting voted out, I think we all kind of forgot the rule we set. And when he sent it, like we can't be like, no, unsend that email. Like it was already sent. So I was like, okay, it's done now, I guess.
Yeah, the rule that we did implement in seasons moving forward is like you are not allowed to use your phone at tribal. Was kind of the like thing. So that it was like you can't like there's no getting around whatever like precedent. Like, there's no getting around whatever rule we set.
Yeah.
Like, don't touch your phone at tribal.
It's
Like,
talked about in season 4, episode 1, the Ben rule that you can't have
Yeah.
your phone at tribal council.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad that it was allowed because it's an icon. It's iconic TV. It's like so good, and leads to like everybody crying, which from an editing standpoint, from an unbiased, unpersonal view, I was like, this is amazing television. This is crazy.
Season 3 felt like you were watching like it did feel like you were watching a reality TV show like unfold before your eyes. And it doesn't always feel like that, but like it literally felt like I'm just watching TV like happen in front of me. Like, this is insane.
It felt like live feeds for Big Brother. Like every day there was just some drama.
Yeah.
Yeah, like every producer would show up to tribal councils because you really had no idea like who was going home. So you were like, I have to be there.
Yeah.
Hence Sarah getting FaceTimed into everything.
I remember the first tribal I went to was the Crouch tribal. And I went only because I happened to be in the living room of our house when Cooper was filming Crouch's confessional, where he goes through his flip the coin plan. And I was like, whoa, I gotta see if this works. Like, this is hilarious. And then I showed up and it was just people going fucking bananas and like screaming at each other. And from my point of view, it's like, I didn't know any of these people. I had no context for this. And I was just like, this is the cattiest group of survivors. Like, this is crazy. And they were just screaming at each other and saying like, we don't like you. It's because we hate you and stuff. Yeah. And I took a Snapchat and sent it to our roommates. I just said, Cooper's lost control. Like, the ref has no control right now. And
Like, we all have our problems, okay?
people were just yelling. I was like, it's the best Survivor that you'll ever see.
That tribal in particular was absolutely insane because we had just come off of 3 unanimous tribal. It was Richard, Emily Levy, Nicholas, all really easy like votes at the beginning. So we were a little worried. We're like, is this going to be a boring season? And then one after another, it was first, we don't like you, we hate you, let's go to effing rocks. And then right after that, double fake idol play into double real idol play into Sarah Minnis going home. So it was like you lose Crouch and Minnis, who neither of them were close to going home, it felt like, into absolutely insane tribals after 3 super boring tribals. So it was just total 180 on how this season was going.
At any point during the season, did the crew ever step in and like try to remind the cast that like, this was not as serious as they were taking it? Or did you got no, right?
I don't think so.
I feel like I remember it being the opposite, where we were like at the beginning of the season, we were like, oh, make sure you guys are as savage as possible in your confessionals. Like, this is reality TV. Like, you want to be on TV, you got to be crazy. Like, I feel like maybe we even like encouraged it a little. I don't know. That's all I can remember.
We definitely showed them some like Sarah X confessionals, and we're like, hey, this is like an example of like confessionals that people like do by themselves, and purposefully showed some of her like more savage ones, which I feel like did translate into the season. Like, people were unhinged in their confessionals, but like, I feel like we wanted them to make good TV. I feel like we did sort of step in when we needed to on just like a personal level, and are like, are you okay? Like, in general, like, especially around the time of the Ben bomb, but like, in general, we mostly were just letting it play out because it was all really good drama for the TV.
Who
expected
coined
it to... Sorry, go ahead.
Who coined the term Ben bomb? Like, where does that term originate?
I think it might have been from Ben from Heroes, Healers.
I was gonna say, I think from the real show.
Oh, is that where it comes
He
from?
happened me and Bree's freshman year. That was Heroes, Healers, Hustlers. So I think that was like fresh in the mind. And so then Ben dropped this bomb, and Ben bomb had just become a thing the season before. So
I didn't even know that. So we stole it from Real Survivor?
Yeah.
Oh, that's lame. I didn't even know that. That's kind of a bummer, actually. That kind of bums me out.
I don't know. You'll have to cut that part out of the podcast. Like 10 to 6.
The context of Survivor was different.
But the phrase "the Ben bomb" has already been used.
Yeah, but it was just him playing an idol every like the last like 7 tribals.
Yeah.
I feel like our version is more iconic.
That's the thing, is like,
I don't know.
ask anyone who watches both shows what the Ben bomb is, and they're probably going to be like, Ben from Sorry Michigan.
It's ours.
Like, honestly.
I guess. I don't know. Suddenly I'm now wishing we had called it something else. Maybe like the Ben catastrophe, the Ben scandal.
No, you need the alliteration.
Yeah,
Ben
it doesn't
game.
have the ring.
Yeah, Ben Bomb is better.
Yeah, the Ben Bomb is pretty good.
But to Cooper's point too, like I'd agree. I feel like we definitely did still provide as much support as we felt like the cast needed. Like I honestly don't think that any of us expected the season to get as like personal as it did. Like, because season 1 and season 2, like all that we had experienced, like yeah, the game got like intense, but I felt like in general, I don't know, maybe you guys have different opinions. Like season 1 and 2, we never, I feel like we got over beef very quickly and everything kind of stayed within the game. I don't think we expected season 3 to be any different than that. So we were like, yeah, like say whatever shit you want in your confessionals. It'll be funny on TV. Like we didn't, I don't think any of us really expected the season to go the direction that it did. And we were all like, oh, like now what do we do?
I feel like we also like were casting more for characters for season 3 specifically. Like we were like really wanting like the big personalities. And also like I forgot how we had tribes selected or whatever, but it was like all the nice people are nice because I enjoy most people these days, but they all ended up on one tribe. And the other 2 tribes have like the people who are like willing to like play dirty and just like more mean. And I think that's like kind of, it wasn't like nice people weren't dispersed a lot among all 3 tribes.
Yeah.
Production got put in a weird, like we had to like toe the line between trying to provide support while also not like affecting the game, because you can't go to somebody and be like, hey, like take this less personally, like it's just a game. Like that's a weird line to try to like toe, because then you're affecting who they want to like come after within the context of the game. So you have to stay away from that while also being like, are you okay? Like, are you good? Like tried to be there for them while also not steering who they're trying to go after or work with within the game. And for season 3 specifically, it was like you had to toe that line a lot.
Yeah, and it was interesting because like, oh, sorry.
It's okay. I was just gonna say that like we do a really good job, I think, of like after someone gets voted out, like really giving them the support, because like we all have been there. So as soon as someone's voted out, the other producers that aren't like filming are like mediating that situation. And that's like our best way, I feel like, of helping people. But in the game, it's hard.
It was also interesting because I feel like Sam said, like season 1, like probably the meanest thing that happened was me yelling at Brittany. And then 1 week later, we were good. You know, like, and now Brittany's one of my tightest like friends. And then season 2, maybe the meanest thing that happened was like Bailey's "we don't sleep with people" and then vote him out. And now like Bailey and Maggie are friends. So like it was just like, okay, yeah, we said rude things and then we moved on and now we're friends. And season 3, they said rude things and I think they hate each other to this day. Like it's a very different vibe in terms of like, yeah, okay, whatever. We were playing a game, we said something, you know, off our backs, water under the bridge, whatever the heck the saying is. And then season 3 was like, you said something rude to me, I will hate you every day for the rest of my life. You know, so it was just very different kind of personalities, vibes, and very big.
Yeah, well, on that subject, somebody wrote in and asked, you know, does anyone still have beef from the season?
Does anyone not have beef from the season would be a better question.
So I don't know if you guys want to answer that or not, but well, I don't know. Do people from the season still have beef with each other?
Yes, is the answer.
Yeah, I feel like there were 2 main like
actions,
things of drama that happened, like the double tribal with like Sabu Sabu and Tafiti, and I feel like most of that doesn't have any like lasting beef. I feel like that kind of is generally over. And then the Ben Bomb, and I feel like there is still lasting effects of the Ben Bomb today.
Yeah,
I think there's like some people that may have taken that double tribal personally to this day.
Yes, less so than the Ben Bomb.
Way less than the Ben Bomb, for sure.
It's like, you know, how after like a nuclear bomb goes off, there's all the fallout, you know, people die instantly in the bomb, but then there's also all the nuclear waste that like people for years are having problems, you know, miles away. And you know, the lasting impacts, you really don't even know how far it's going to go or how long it'll last. And, you know, some bombs are just normal bombs. Some are nuclear bombs.
It's just like you can't mention certain people around other people without them getting pissed off. That's
like you gotta decide who gets invited to stuff, who you're gonna talk to. Like it's
like a divorce. Like you can only have like a certain friend for your one.
That's a good description.
I mean, I think if I don't know if there's anyone out there who's done this, but if you have watched all of these crew podcasts, I think you'll have noticed a running theme of building towards the storyline of the crew podcast. I'd say for each season is building towards the season 4 crew, when the crew fell apart to a degree. And I think it's no coincidence that season 3 cast, once they were on the season 4 crew, is sort of where the crew arc culminated. So we can say that for season 4, but essentially, basically, if you're out there wondering, why was an X person on the cast portion of this podcast? The answer is because it's like I don't know how to. I'm not going to be the one to mitigate that. Like I can't talk them through it. I'm not want to deal with it, So I was like, I'm just going to not deal with it.
Ian hasn't quite got his therapist degree yet,
Yeah, they pay me nothing to edit Survivor Michigan. They don't pay me nothing to host therapy sessions. So it was like, I'm just not going to do that. We'll see when we get to the season 4 crew. See what happens with there. I feel like it's slightly less contentious, but I don't know. Yeah. We'll see.
I will say for season 3, some apologies have been given and some apologies have been accepted and some have not. So it's
on a personal level, I think all these people are great people. People have beef with each other. That's life. It doesn't mean anybody's necessarily in the right or in the wrong, but it is a thing that exists, and it's like a divorce. You can love both your parents and understand they weren't meant to stay together.
Yeah, I feel like as a production crew, we cast all these people because we liked them and we thought they'd be great characters, they'd be great on TV, and they all were. But I think like people have alluded to, you cast a lot of big characters, people are going to clash with each other, but that doesn't mean that we don't like them either.
And I'll say that this also is season 3, and those people were on the crew, and a lot of those people also come back for Survivor All-Stars, and so we'll have to see how that all pans out. But some of this story is not yet completed, I'd say. All right, we think that's enough on that subject.
Yeah,
probably.
I think we've talked.
That covered it.
All right. What else? Okay, what's this thing about Katie poisoning Cassie?
Yeah. She almost quit season 3 because of this.
That was a dramatic.
They had to talk her off the edge of the cliff.
Okay, somebody needs to explain this. I have no idea what
this is all you.
Basically, well, because we didn't have we now ask people about their food allergies because of this fact. But basically, Katie and I went to do a Halloween themed challenge because it was October and we thought it'd be fun for the cast. I think it was a way of making something fun for them since they were so intense. The challenge.
Which challenge was this again? Final
This
11?
was the memory challenge where they had candies in order, and
I remember candy corn. That's all I remember from this challenge.
It was at Triangle, and people kept pulling in and out of their parking lot during the challenge. So some people couldn't see the candies. We had to reset. But long story short, we just wanted a tiebreaker round or whatever at the end, and
it was for losing your vote.
Oh yeah,
the last person to finish the candy corn lost their vote. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and so basically Cassie didn't. But the thing is, Cassie, I don't know. I don't want to say this. Cassie apparently said that she's allergic, but I don't know who ever heard that she was allergic.
Not to any production members.
Cassie whispered to the people next to her before the camera started rolling that she may have been allergic. I think that's what happened.
Didn't she lose that also and lose her vote?
Yeah, of course, because she couldn't eat it.
But she ate one of the most.
She ate more than you would expect.
And then
she
did something bad happen to her from eating it?
I think she puked. She said that she puked afterwards, but she said also that she told Katie that I can't eat this, whatever, I'm allergic. And Katie was she said that Katie just was looked at her just what? I don't know, just kind of in one ear out the other. She probably just didn't understand her, something like that. It was chaos. Like Bree said, cars were pulling in, cars were pulling out, cameras.
So is that one of those? Is that one of those on those iceberg memes, on the highest tier level is Nicholas Muddy Shoes, but one of the lower tier levels is Katie tried to poison Cassie.
Yeah.
Cassie, people forget Cassie was the pre-Cat. Like at the time, Cassie, like we saw Cassie, like how we saw Kat in season 4.
That's so mean.
Like
It wasn't the pre-Cat. She was Cassie.
She was,
and then
like-
Cat was the Cassie.
Yeah, I agree with Akshay.
Yeah, she was the first one. She really was a true trailblazer, like of hating production and causing beef. Like it started with Cassie. It really did.
Hating production.
Because she worked a lot, and so she would always complain about how like. Remember, she was like a person who was impossible to schedule around her. She made it so far in the game, and she would always complain about like, oh, like I have work, yada yada yada. She wouldn't show up to challenges sometime. There's this big thing where she got really pissed. Like we had like a tribal challenge, and like she like left early or something. But this is the point for this candy corn thing. I don't remember if this is like near the beginning of when this thing started, or this might have really kicked off her hating production like for good. But she basically was threatening to quit the game because of this. And like everyone's
I don't want
like,
to do confessionals either.
yeah. So I had to go and like meet with Cassie before a tribal council. Like we found like we were at Triangle, and like Kevin like led us up to like some room up in the upper floors of Triangle. And I'm filming confessional with Cassie, and basically like, so like, you understand, like you're not gonna quit, right? Like it's just candy corn, at the end of the day, like you're fine, well, and like we'll listen to you, blah blah blah. We'll make sure that this doesn't happen again. She's like, yeah, whatever, fine, I won't quit. But fuck Katie for trying to poison me.
No, I remember like I think the like Cassie hate just all sparked from that initial Crouch tribal where I think she celebrated after Crouch got the rock, and I think everyone just like lost it over that. And then that sort of started the in-game dislike of Cassie, and then a little bit on production. And then this challenge happened, and she just antagonized production after that on top of her bad schedule. Like I remember the tribal challenge, and Sam mentioned, like Ian did a good job of editing this out of her confessional, but like her confessional, I was in the room, and it was like, so we have this challenge and this tribal, and screw you guys for scheduling it like this. Like, I don't want to be here. I gotta go. And then it just turned into just like a production rant. And like, I felt like at a certain point, us on production, we're just like, can she be voted out so our schedule can look normal? Like that's all we wanted.
There's always somebody whose schedule is just holding up everything. And that person always goes so far.
Off the record, I did see Cassie on a day that she was like, I was unavailable at the thrift store.
That's what caused it. I remember.
That's on the For the record, nothing is off the record at this podcast.
I literally remember being like, we dead ass could have had like tribal or a challenge or something. I don't remember what it was.
I actually think Cassie getting voted out makes no sense for anyone in the game, basically, because they were all going to destroy her. So there's no real reason to vote her out, really.
I do feel like
no, I think it made sense for Dylan and Devin.
Well, I never.
They had a final 2, and then Aaron was immune, so it was sort of like she was.
No, that makes it's Aaron voting for Cassie. No, doesn't make any sense.
Devin should have wanted to go with like Cassie to the end, though. He should have. I guess like he should have voted off Dylan at final 4. I feel like we talked about
a shot. He had a shot at Dylan. Honestly, he did.
He did. So, he 100% did.
I think Devin played a better game than Dylan.
If Devin votes off Dylan at the final 4, though, and then wins immunity, which he did in real life, and brings Cassie, then he wins the game.
But if he votes out Dylan there's no guarantee that Cassie's even going to take him.
He just wins immunity.
But true.
No, but he
wouldn't have taken him.
I agree that if it makes sense for them, because if he votes out Cassie, he has a 2/3 chance of getting to the end. And I do think he had a spitting chance against Dylan and could have won, maybe if it had gone a little bit differently. And I think that if he votes out Dylan, then like if Cassie or Aaron win, they both probably do not take him to the end.
And it sort of made sense in Aaron's head that she was taking away Dylan's final 2.
Well, yeah.
She basically thought she had a deal with both the guys. In reality, she didn't. But like in her mind, she was like, I have a deal with both the guys, and Cassie is taking Dylan to the end. So
I mean, I feel like it makes sense for Aaron and Devin in the sense that like their perception of the game was like not necessarily what was actually happening. But if you're looking like from like a hindsight is 2020 view, which obviously they didn't have, and like it's kind of like, I don't know, hindsight is 2020. But I feel like, look, knowing what we know now, he should have voted off Dylan in the final 4. There's just no way for either Aaron or Devin to have like known that, I guess.
Do y'all think that Cassie had a chance of winning the final immunity challenge? Because I know like Aaron fell early.
I think
that's the thing too. Like that's something else to consider is like Aaron was injured pretty publicly at that point too.
It's true.
I think
Aaron
Cassie
was
could have
injured
won
and
it.
she wore the wrong shoes.
Yeah.
I think Cassie totally could have won it. The challenge, not the game.
She would have won the challenge and
But if
lost.
she like won the
Yeah.
challenge,
Yeah.
like that ultimately like fucks whoever was still in the game at that point.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess at that point, Devin just has to convince Cassie that she has a better chance against him, which she does. And I
But
guess
she
it
probably
depends how
still would keep
She
Dylan.
probably still takes
right?
Aaron.
Oh,
I think
let
she
me.
takes
Probably.
If Dylan goes home, yeah.
Yeah.
Cassie thought that Aaron had no chance.
Yeah.
Cassie thought that the jury hated Aaron still.
That's
She was
true.
taking Aaron.
Yeah, she was living on Mars. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Aaron would have like swept against like anybody basically.
I think
Yeah.
Aaron wins
Yeah.
easily against
Yeah.
anybody in that final, probably like 7 until once Brady got voted out, everyone left with Aaron
Mhm.
was crushing.
I honestly think she could have won against Brady. Like,
I think she beats Brady.
Oh, she
Yeah.
beats Brady too? Okay, then once
Maybe.
Eliza got voted out, she beats everyone.
Yes.
yeah, it'd be interesting because with Brady, it's like he had that like perception from the whole cast and like the jury that like, oh, he's the biggest threat. So if he gets to the end, you know, maybe he's able to argue like I was the biggest threat and I made it. But also Erin like had, you know, had the story that she had. I feel like that would have been a really interesting final too. I could see either of them taking it in that case.
What else? Is there any other like drama that we did not bring up or like behind the scenes stuff that I'm forgetting about? That
Maybe
was
final tribal, just like how close it really was until final tribal started, really. Because
yeah,
I
I
feel
was
like if
in the
Yeah, okay, go for it.
I just watched today because I just edited today the so like the jury roundtable thing we did. Back at the time of season 3 coming out, the only angle we had of it was on like Eliza and the Emily's and someone and Ben. And so like it was basically worthless. It was just like we can't use this. There's only one angle. It's like no good. And then I recently found the another angle of you and Lavana, and so I was like 2 angles. We can kind of use it now. So I'm gonna put it in this video, and
Oh,
it's
sweet.
really funny.
cool.
It's
Yeah.
fucking
Hilarious.
hilarious. It's like first of all, it's just like the season. They're all just screaming at each other. But then also Will is like super pro team Devin,
Mhm.
which is funny because then like he obviously like doesn't vote for Devin. And Cassie's also going off about how she like ran the whole game and stuff. Like it's a really funny video. But yeah, like going into the final tribal, did you guys think it was a done deal or what was the situation?
No, I think what had happened was it was like the Sabu Sabus were clearly voting Devin, and then Will was actually very clearly with them and also voting Devin. And it was like Brady, Aaron, and Cassie were clearly voting Dylan. And Ben and Emily P were sort of the 2 up in the air. Emily P was kind of leaning Dylan a little more, and Ben was more up in the air. At least that's what they said. I don't know how much they were actually up in the air. And then the Sabu Sabus in that jury chat worked their hardest to make everyone not want to vote Devin. Like they
Yeah.
just kept saying Devin is the Messiah. He's Jesus. He's the greatest human being to ever live. He's the greatest Survivor player of all time. And everyone just got sick of it. And that just happened again and again and again. And
Panic got
then
really pissed off by that. I
yeah, I
remember.
think Ben and Emily P, like any
Yeah.
chance they had of getting his vote or like any chance he had of getting their vote was gone pretty much before it started. And then he gets to final tribal. And I obviously you had to edit this out because it would have made it way too obvious on who was going to win. But he gives the answer to Will, and he's way too honest about his answer to Will and honest about the fact that he would have cut Will. And Will like listens, he's just like very passive. And then he's just like, I just want to say, I knew who I was voting going in, and I'm not voting for that person anymore. And then just like goes and sits down, and there's like an explosion from the jury.
Oh
And I'm
yeah.
just like, oh, I want that footage because it was like dramatic.
I
when it
thought,
happened.
is that not in the show? Did I cut
think
that
it
out?
is.
I
think it
thought
is.
maybe it was.
I think it
I
is.
thought you had to cut it out because it would have made it just way too obvious. that
I don't
Devin was
know.
gonna
I'll go
win.
check after this because that's also really funny. Maybe.
So then we never had an alliance. Right. Okay. Thanks, Devin. By the way, I already had my mind made up when I came in tonight, but it's not anymore.
One day we just need to do like deleted scenes for all this stuff because
Yeah.
there's a lot of really funny stuff. But I've always felt personally that Will was like being a little overblown with that, and that Devin, like Will was cutting all kinds of people and like betraying people. So like, what's it to him that Devin I don't know. I thought that was like, it's like, why should that really make you not want to vote for him? But
He was definitely butthurt that he got outplayed, just plain and simple.
That's like part of like your final tribal speeches is you're supposed to like cater to whoever's asking the question. So like you could still be lying. I don't know why he did tell the truth to Will.
I think that I think I remember him mentioning later, what pissed him off the most at Final Tribal was that like Devin's answer, Will said like, okay, wow, so it seems like, was our whole alliance fake? Like, was anything real at all? Like, did our alliance like matter? And Devin basically was like, no, like our alliance didn't matter. Like, it was all fake. It was never real. Like, I never wanted to work with you, blah, blah, blah. And he was just like, I think that pissed him off specifically. I mean, basically what Cooper was saying, he didn't like that he was outplayed, but I feel like Devin like had the most like game body answer possible. You're not going to say like, oh yeah, like we did work together, but I had to vote you out because I had this plan with Dylan. Like, no, it's basically like, yeah, nah, like basically you were living in the Matrix. Like you're a complete moron, like completely blindsided your ass. Like we were never in alliance at all. Like you were just like, haha, joke's on you, Will, like vote for me now. And he was like, fuck you. Now I'm not going to vote for you. So
yeah, I think there was a good chunk of producers that thought like, oh, Devin made this alliance with, like that was still up in the air. Like who
that's
made
how I
the alliance
felt
with
from
who?
editing it, was that Devin had played the more strategic game, in that a lot of their plans of him and Dylan, it felt like had originated with him, at least from the videos I watched. But certainly Dylan was just more affable and had not pissed as many people off. And I also think the anti-Savu Savu thing is totally real, where like the Savu Savu alliance just was really irritating to like most of the other players of the game, you know?
I think it goes back to where Bree was saying that we put all the nice people on one tribe. I think they were overly nice and it pissed off all the like not as nice people because they were just like, just stop being just like sunshines and rainbows all the time. Like, shut up. It's
well, like
world.
Tormenta and Tafiti also were like friends.
True.
And they were like
that
Richard. Third, yeah, and that third it was because of Richard. Wow. Ultimately, Richard is what caused everything. With
Richard, dude, underrated. Richard saying the numbers caused Dylan to win the game. Underrated factoid.
Where is that on the iceberg?
I think my favorite part of Real Survivor, I think it was like David
level.
versus Goliath. Someone like in the middle of a challenge just started yelling out numbers, and just like 3 different people in our Survivor chat just went, Richard, look, it's you on actual Survivor. It was literally my favorite moment of David versus Goliath.
Andrew.
Somebody said, why couldn't you guys have had Jessie on the jury? That was cruel, having her make merge and not make jury. Whose idea was that twist? It does seem a little cruel. It's a little mean.
Ask Matthew about that one. Ask El Jefe.
I think it came down to we wanted 9 people on the jury.
Yeah, it was a final 2, so we could
because it was a final 2 specifically.
We really were like Big Brother rules.
Yeah, because like that was our first season doing final 2, and we really didn't want to tie because like how do you do final 2 with a 5-5 tie? You literally can't break that. So we didn't really have a choice on that one. So Jessie got screwed, to be quite honest.
Yeah, rip Jessie, and like the board in her room with like the
board
messages.
that just
That was hilarious. That was
great.
So funny.
It was. I feel like it was like an inside joke with the production chat where we would like notice them in her videos and like always like take little screenshots of them, and then we ended up like moving that over to like the editing and like making that a part of her character as well. And I always thought that was fun.
Yeah, we'd be like, the board changed today.
Yeah.
I feel like we covered most of the juicy stuff.
Yeah.
One of the things I remember from production that was funny was how like halfway through the season, it was like a meme that Bree would always say like, oh, Dylan's winning the game, Dylan's gonna win. And we all thought it was like so funny. Like, oh yeah, obviously Dylan's gonna win.
It was Aaron. I did not. Sorry, Dylan. I did not root for Aaron.
But you were rooting for Aaron, but I feel like at a certain point you're like, oh, like Dylan. I feel like you did call Dylan winning.
No, that had to be someone else. I know I was standing by Aaron as for the bit, and then it became like almost real. And I was like, oh, okay. But Dylan, I'm sorry.
Maybe it was Lucy, because like Lucy and Dylan were friends at that time. So I think she might have just been like, Dylan's winning, and then
maybe. I feel like Lucy didn't want Dylan to win for that reason, though.
Oh, true.
Yeah, she's
I
like,
don't know
oh, this
who was
idiot,
rooting
like,
for Dylan, but I do believe someone was saying Dylan was going to win.
You're right. No, I remember Lucy said she didn't want Dylan to do better than her.
Yeah. Same with like Brady and Kat the next season.
I thought that Crouch getting rocked out was fucking hilarious because we lived across the street from Crouch,
Yeah.
So we like knew him. And so I remember just our whole house just thought it was so funny. We were like, that's so funny.
Matthew
that
had
happened to
like
him.
Matthew loved Crouch so much. I remember Matthew was always like, OMG guys, like Crouch just had the record for videos uploaded in a week. Like it's just so crazy. Like, and I remember that like Matthew was devastated when he drew the rock. I mean, we were all like, it was like a gut punch. It was tough, but Matthew was just heartbroken.
I feel like season 3 was like Matthew's dream season of a format.
All the
He was like,
twists.
we're doing a twist every week, and we're like, okay.
Yeah.
Underrated season 3 like thing was the tribals being outside and Kevin with the goddamn lighter fluid. Every
Yeah.
tribal, oh my god, I think the contestants hated him because the fire would like die down just a little bit, and all of a sudden in the next shot you would like in like the actual episode you'd see the fire just be huge again. It would be because Kevin would just be like, stop, and would just squirt like half a bottle of lighter fluid on the goddamn fire, and then it would just be a gigantic flame. And then we'd be like waiting there for 10 seconds and be like, okay, now we can film again.
And then they just had smoke going in their eyes the whole time.
Yeah,
Kevin
spoiler
loved
alert.
hosting it.
Spoiler alert, we do not go back to the triangle tribals on All Stars, mainly because pretty much everybody involved with them, just like as cool as they look on TV, everyone just kind of hated the cast hated them.
And they
so-
didn't look
Producer was
very
great,
good
though.
on like they looked better on camera than we expected, but I remember we were like, it's too dark. You can't see anybody's
Yeah, we
face.
didn't think it
they
was gonna
look
look
good.
good.
Sometimes they look good, sometimes they look bad. It depends a lot on who was doing the filming. So I'll let that, so that'll go unnamed. There is one tribal from that season, the Emily B tribal, I believe. I think it was both tribals that episode, the Emily B and Emily P tribals. You know who you are, who was filming those tribals, and yeah, you
Was
should be
I one of
ashamed.
them?
No.
Okay.
But it was no, it was not present company, but they should be ashamed of themselves. Some of the worst filming in the entire franchise right there.
Yeah,
Just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Some very inebriated people who should not have had
I was
cameras
gonna
in their
say
hands.
the fire pit aspect, production was not always.
Yeah. That added to a lot of production feeling that they could like, it's harder to show up to a Mason Hall classroom like hammered and like fucked up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
those
That's
triangle
facts. I
tribals,
forgot we were coming to those.
it's
Yeah.
like behind a frat house and people were acting like it was behind a frat house.
Yeah.
People would like come from like Charlie's on if it was like a Monday night. Like people were always coming after.
Yeah. Oh
It
yeah.
also
Also,
didn't-
like in terms of geography, if you don't know the University of Michigan, where this frat is located is like right past where all of the bars are.
Yeah.
So like you could easily like, hit up some bars after class, get drunk, and then now I'll go to the Survivor Tribal and like film ostensibly. But in reality, you just moving the camera all over the place and acting like a fool.
Also from like a production standpoint, like this isn't like mismanagement of funds, but we just had to spend a whole lot of money on wood because we needed wood to keep a fire going in Triangle, and we were the only ones really using that pit. So Kevin just kind of kept using our money to buy wood, and that was just not sustainable.
No, we definitely took a deficit in the budget that season. That was tough. Because Katie spent like $100 on candy, and
Yeah,
Kevin spent
so much on
$200 on
candy.
firewood.
The season 3 budget could be its own meme. It could have its own iceberg meme, truly.
What did we
So-
asked for like $10
What was the
from
budget?
everybody?
This was the
It
first time
Yeah.
there was a budget, right? We didn't have a budget before that.
Yeah.
did we?
First time we had an entry fee in general, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like $10 a person,
So that'd be
production
like
and
that'd be
task.
like $180 or more if you include the production. How much do you know? How
Yeah,
does
so
anyone?
max probably 300.
I think it was about 300. Yeah.
And what did it mostly get wasted on?
I think wood was like 250.
Yeah, wood and Katie's candy for when she poisoned Cassie.
And lighter
Yeah.
fluid.
And lighter fluid.
I
Yeah,
remember
lighter
Sam
fluid.
being like, "Yeah, don't buy anything else this season."
And
Oh, that's why we
this was-
reuse the
I think he
cups
said
every
this pre-merge
challenge.
or like right after merge. Don't
Yeah.
buy anything else this season. We're like, oh, we're screwed.
Because we also bought like tennis balls probably for the first challenge, or like
I think because we had a
think
budget,
Brittany
we
had
took
balls.
these. We took the
Okay.
like, oh, we can use this for all future seasons,
Yeah.
and we just used all the money from this season for that, which was a mistake because we did not have nearly enough money to do that.
That's why we use those colored cups for like every challenge, and then to use them again at the party.
And then season 4.
The ones that they were stacking with their feet.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
at the season 3 after party. I'm pretty positive.
Are you telling me I drank out of one of those cups?
I'm pretty
I mean,
positive. Yeah.
It could have been one of those cups. It could have been a different one.
It-
Maybe it was one that people were
Without making-
stacking outside or something.
We left it up to fate.
maybe it was one of the ones. I think we used those cups again for like season 4, like that final challenge.
Yeah, we did.
We used those cups a lot because we were always short on money.
Those cups went through it.
Yeah, it really did. Yeah. Then we finally got new budget, and then Will spent $100 on watermelon next season. But that's a whole nother story. We'll get there later.
We'll get to that's next time
That's a sneak peek.
That time we blew the budget even earlier. We blew it like the fourth challenge. Was that episode 4?
Yeah.
The fourth challenge. We blew the entire budget on watermelons.
On
I think we would like
dirty,
learn
muddy
from our
watermelon.
mistakes, but we didn't.
Yeah, basically the production, it just gets more, just the behind the scenes drama just gets even better from here. So
Basically everything you see on screen for season 3 is behind camera for season 4.
yeah, season 4 is really where the behind the scenes story would have been just as good, if not better, than the actual on-screen story.
I think it was better.
If there was a reality TV show about putting on a season of Survivor, it's like it'd be like the Nathan Fielder version of Survivor Michigan. that would just be a really good TV, is the season 4. Well, I feel like we've pretty much wrapped it up. This has been, the season 3 Maized and Confused crew reunion. Hope you enjoyed some of the gossip, some of the stories, and as we said, the crew arc. Season 2 was the nice little glory days. Everybody was happy. Season 3, the drama on screen started getting kind of intense. The season 4 crew podcast, well, it's gonna be spicy. It's gonna be spicy, so you'll definitely want to stick around for that one. And stay tuned for news about All Stars, because it is coming soon, very soon. So thank you guys for coming on, and have a good evening. This is good.
Can't wait for the season 4 one where it's just people yelling at each other the whole time.
That one's gonna be great. This actually made me really excited for the season 4 one.
Yeah. Alrighty. See y'all.
See you guys.
Good to see you guys.
Wow, that was something.